What really sparked the feud between Kendrick Lamar and Drake? It's a question that has intrigued many, as these two titans of the hip-hop industry, each with their own illustrious career, find themselves embroiled in a rivalry that has the world watching. From Billboard-topping hits to Grammy Awards, their shared journey took a surprising turn into tension and conflict. To understand the feud, we must journey back to where it all began. The year was 2011. Two rising stars, Kendrick Lamar and Drake, crossed paths. A time when both artists were on the precipice of greatness, ready to redefine the landscape of hip-hop. Their relationship kicked off with a mutual respect, as they admired each other's unique style and lyricism. This admiration led to their initial collaborations, creating a synergy that would echo throughout the hip-hop community. Their first collaboration was on a track titled Buried Alive Interlude on Drake's album, Take Care. This was followed by Kendrick featuring Drake on his own record, Poetic Justice, from the acclaimed album, Good Kid, Massachusetts, AD City. These collaborations, filled with lyrical prowess and emotional depth, were celebrated by fans and critics alike. The bond between Kendrick Lamar and Drake seemed to be strengthening. Their stars were rising in tandem, and it appeared as though a powerhouse duo was in the making. However, as they say, every rose has its thorns. The first hint of tension between the two surfaced in 2013, when Kendrick Lamar released his verse on the track, Control. In the verse, Kendrick called out several of his peers, including Drake, challenging them to step up their game. This bold move was seen as a gauntlet thrown down, a challenge to the current state of hip-hop. Kendrick, in his verse, declared himself the King of New York, a statement that ruffled feathers and raised eyebrows in the industry. While some artists took this as a friendly competition, Drake was not one of them. He felt that Kendrick's verse was unnecessary and seemed to take it as a personal affront. In interviews following the release of Control, Drake expressed his disappointment and distaste for Kendrick's approach, marking the first public signs of discord between the two. The Control verse not only shook the hip-hop community, but also marked the beginning of a silent feud. This feud, subtle and under the surface at first, would soon escalate into one of the most talked-about conflicts in hip-hop history. Fast forward to 2014, the tension between Kendrick and Drake was palpable. The year marked a turning point in their relationship. The roots of their feud can be traced back to Kendrick's verse on Big Sean's track, Control. Kendrick's lyrics, which boldly called out several prominent rappers, including Drake, created a ripple effect in the hip-hop community. Drake didn't take too kindly to this, expressing his displeasure in an interview later that year. He said that the verse was unnecessary and that he didn't see why Kendrick had to name-drop. Kendrick, for his part, was unapologetic. He held his ground, stating in several interviews that his verse was not a diss, but rather a call to arms for the rap community. He wanted to push the boundaries of the genre and challenge his peers to do the same, but the tension didn't stop there. Drake, known for his emotive and introspective lyrics, started to weave subtle jabs at Kendrick into his songs. In Used To, a track off his mixtape If You're Reading This It's Too Late, he raps about people trying to end his career, a line many interpreted as a response to Kendrick's Control verse. Other artists and the wider hip-hop community inevitably got drawn into the feud. Fans and critics alike began to take sides, sparking debates about who was the better artist. Some artists, like J. Cole and Big Sean, tried to mediate, calling for unity in the hip-hop community, but their calls largely fell on deaf ears. In the midst of all this, Kendrick remained unfazed. He continued to subtly jab at Drake in his lyrics and interviews, further escalating the tension. He seemed to relish the competition, viewing it as a necessary part of hip-hop culture. As the years passed by, the feud remained, simmering beneath the surface. The tension between Kendrick and Drake was far from over, and it would continue to shape their careers and the course of hip-hop for years to come. Today, the rivalry between Kendrick Lamar and Drake remains a hot topic. Like a smouldering ember, it's not always in plain sight, but it's there, ready to ignite at any given moment. The two icons have been trading indirect jabs for years, their words wrapped in metaphor and hidden behind beats, leaving fans and critics alike to decode their messages. There's a palpable tension, a sense of unease that permeates not only their music but the entire hip-hop community. It's a chess game of words, a dance of egos, and the stakes are as high as they've ever been. Speculation runs rampant about unreleased tracks, each potentially a new salvo in their ongoing war of words. Every verse, every line, every word is scrutinized for hidden meanings, potential disses, and clues about the state of their feud. But what has been the impact of this feud on their music? For some, it's brought an edge, a rawness that has elevated their art to new heights. For others, it's a distraction, a sideshow that detracts from the music itself. And so the hip-hop community watches and waits, caught up in the drama of this unresolved feud. There's a hope, a yearning for resolution, a desire for a détente that could lead to something extraordinary, a collaboration, a joining of forces that would shake the foundations of the hip-hop world. While the feud continues, fans can only hope for a resolution, or better yet, a collaboration. So what have we learned about the Kendrick Lamar and Drake feud? We've traced back the roots of their feud, which began with a subtle rivalry that emerged from their differing musical styles and approach to hip-hop. It then escalated into something bigger, spurred by a series of lyrical jabs and public call-outs that added fuel to the fire. We've also explored the various players involved in this feud, shedding light on how it's not just a two-man battle but a complex web of alliances and rivalries that extends beyond Kendrick and Drake. In its current state, the feud remains unresolved, hanging in the air like a question mark. Despite the tension, both artists continue to push boundaries in their music, driven by a competitive spirit that refuses to be quelled. In the end, the feud between Kendrick Lamar and Drake is a testament to their passion for music and their competitive spirit.